Hey there everybody, welcome back to another one of my budgeting videos. This is going to be my weekly update on my digital cash envelopes. If you are new to my channel, I budget the same way you do when you are doing cash budgeting. So I take my variable spending money, I divvy it up into different categories. My categories are groceries, miscellaneous, fun, physio, and transportation. And then I spend from those categories over the pay period. I get paid bi-weekly, so over the 2-week time period. And I just sort of keep track of the spending as I go. My main difference though is that instead of actually handling physical cash in an envelope, I move all of the money over to a prepaid MasterCard and I tap that card when I'm spending from any of these categories. I do occasionally mess it up or charge to my Visa and then pay my Visa back from these categories, which is something that I did in the past 2 weeks. So we will go over that. And this is just going to be sort of an update of where my spending is at, where the categories are at, and a little bit of chattiness because I apparently can't do these videos without chatting. So the last time we were here was up here on May the 4th when I was putting in money for the paycheck deposit because my paycheck was that Friday. So I made a little note to myself about the amounts that I was putting into the categories because they are different than normal. So usually, for instance, I would put into groceries $120, but I'd actually shopped before I was able to do my budget. And so I actually only moved over, I moved over $37.52. The groceries one is even more confusing than normal because I was moving over 120, but I was in the hole. I was a negative balance of $7.30. So I took away $7.30, which left me with $112.70. And then these are four pieces of shopping that I did before I actually got my budget done that I put onto my Visa card. So then the money from my grocery category, instead of the full $112.70 going over onto the prepaid credit card into this category, these amounts got totaled up and were paid directly onto my Visa card. And then I moved over the $30.22 because that is actually how much money I was going to have to get me through my pay period until the next payday. And it's the same thing. I did the same thing with the fun category, the miscellaneous, and the transportation column. So it's just a little reminder to me about why the numbers for my deposits were a little bit odd. So when we left off last time on May 4th, I had a balance in the groceries category of $30.22, miscellaneous $20.43, fun $52.75, physio $31.50, transportation $19.38. Fun is so high because I had a friend visiting from out of town, and I knew that there was going to be more expenses coming from this category than normal just because of the fact that they were visiting and we might be doing things together. So I wanted to give myself more money so that hopefully I wouldn't go into the negative balance in this category while they were visiting. Spoiler, I went into a negative balance while they were visiting. So here's how I fixed that. On the 5th of May, my friend and I, we went out for sushi dinner. They paid for dinner, which I was not expecting, but it was very thoughtful of them and it was an amazing dinner. And then we crossed the street and we went to Brecca Bakery afterwards and we got I think 4 things in total, 2 each, something theoretically for dessert that night, but we were both way too full. So we had it the next day and then the day after. So I bought all of the items for both of us since they had bought dinner. So I spent $21.28 at Brecca. And then on the 7th, from the fun category, we went to Didi Mao. It's a restaurant in Chinatown in Vancouver. Highly recommend. It was very good. But the drink price totally caught me off guard. I don't drink alcohol very often, and especially not out at restaurants. So we got there and it was happy hour, and I was sort of like, sure, I'll have a drink. I'm not driving. And I got a spicy margarita, I think it was. The drink was like $18, which I am sure is normal because nobody else blinked an eye at the cost of their bills, but I was horrified. So my total was $47.49. I really should have just gotten water because the meal itself was great and totally worth the money. The drink, I would say no. And then on that same day after dinner, we went to Bagheera Bar and I spent $10.85. I got a beer. The drinks, they have all these specialty drinks that sound really interesting. I highly recommend going if you're ever in the area. It's supposed to be like a speakeasy. So you go in and it looks like a horse betting place. But then if you know the password, you can get into the bar and then you get into the back and it's like all themed based off like Kipling's stories of the Jungle Books. So beautiful, beautiful menu, beautiful artwork, beautiful environment. Absolutely amazing. Highly recommend. You can find the password online. But the drinks themselves, because it is like very much like you're going for the ambience of the experience, and the drinks are all very specialty novelty types of drinks, they were all pretty pricey, but they did have a page at the back for non-alcoholic drinks and just sort of simpler drinks, I suppose. And so I went for a beer at $10.85 with tax, partly because I didn't really want any of the really complicated sounding ones, and also price point. May 8th, out of miscellaneous, I paid 80 cents for parking. I went to the post office. It was one that doesn't have its own parking lot, so you needed street parking. And I was like, I don't know, if I don't pay for a lot of time, then there's going to be a lineup and I'm going to be late. So I paid for 30 minutes of parking, and I was inside for like all of a minute, but it's fine. It's 80 cents. May 9th, okay, we're going to ignore groceries for right now. Miscellaneous, I spent $1.56 on Cricut. I have a Cricut machine, and I was helping make t-shirts for a Dragon Boat Festival this weekend. And so I had to pay to buy a little squirrel cutout design. I've actually got it right here. I hope it's not too glaring on the camera, but you see the little guys. So to get the design of the Cricut, it was $1.56. And then also on May 9th, that brought me to a total for miscellaneous of $18.07 left in this column. However, once I did the math, sorry, I'm all over the place, for taking out of my total Brecca, Didi Mao, and Bagheera Bar, I'm at a negative balance of $26.87 in the fun category. So I took the remaining money from miscellaneous, $18.07, moved it over to fun. Now I'm in a negative balance of $8.80. So I went over to groceries, which I normally don't pull from, and I pulled $8.80 because that had a balance of $30.22, and you'll notice I did no grocery shopping. So now I'm leaving my grocery balance at $21.42, and I moved $8.80 over to fun to bring it to a zero. Physio, I actually had a physio appointment. I got in on a wait list, so that was $15.75. So now that one has a balance of $15.75, and I had no charges in transportation. So my final balance is groceries is $21.42, miscellaneous zero, fun zero, physio $15.75, transportation $19.38. So I mean, it works. I've already tallied up the Didi Mao, the Bagheera Bar, the parking, and the Cricut charges, and moved that money off of the prepaid credit card, transferred it over to my regular bank account. It'll take 1 to 3 days to move over. Once it moves over and shows up there, then I will make a payment onto the Visa card. So then those charges will be getting immediately paid off from the appropriate categories. I do also have a charge on the credit card, $11.60 for parking for the Dragon Boat Festival yesterday, but that'll come out of my Dragon Boat Sinking Fund, which I think is almost at zero. So it's a little bit tight right there. But that is a thing to be dealing with on Friday, on payday. So these are the numbers to get me through. I don't have a physio appointment booked that's going to charge for this coming week. I may get it on the wait list. I may not. I don't know. So I'm leaving the money in there in case I do. Right now, I have no real expenses coming out of transportation. I could pay for the parking out of the transportation column, the parking for yesterday that is supposed to come out of the Dragon Boat funds, just because I sort of, yes, I was paying for parking because I was at a Dragon Boat thing, but my transportation column is meant to cover things like parking charges. So it could really come out of either. I'm going to have to really take a look at my Dragon Boat funds because they've been getting pulled from, I feel like, quite a bit lately. So I need to see where they're really at balance wise, because they do share a savings account with my present fund, and I've been pulling from that one a lot as well. And I need to make sure that I don't use more of the money in that savings account for one of the categories over the other and accidentally pull from one I'm not intending to. But yeah, otherwise everything is kind of working. I've got $21.42 for groceries to get me through until Friday, which should be plenty because I actually am going out of town on Saturday. I'm going to Edmonton. Striker, that's my cat. Striker and I are going on a road trip. We leave Saturday morning. So I'm actually doing that thing where I don't have that many days until I go, so I'm trying to make sure that I eat through the stuff that is perishable, that won't survive sitting in my fridge or in my pantry for the 2 weeks that we're gone. Not like there's perishable things in my pantry, but like I have an open box of crackers and they'll go stale by the time I get back. So, eat the crackers and I have shredded cheese and I have cheese slices. Cheese slices last forever. I don't understand what makes up a cheese slice, but it's nothing from nature. So the cheese slices I'm comfortable leaving in the fridge. However, the shredded cheese will go moldy and I don't want to lose the money that I paid for it. So I'll make sure to eat the shredded cheese. You know, things like that. Like just sort of working my way through what I have in there, but not really buying too much more. At most, I might buy milk, but I actually have a fair amount. So I think I have enough to get me through until the Saturday, which would be ideal because it would be great if I didn't have to buy anything else food wise during this week and can just eat through what I have so that I leave with a nice empty fridge and nothing open in my pantry that will go stale, and then therefore not waste money on food. If I have something open in my pantry, like say the crackers, I don't eat through them all, I'm just going to bring them with me and use them as a snack in the car. So exciting. I may, having said all of that, I may purchase a very small amount of groceries for the road trip, because I'm trying to decide what kind of snacks to take on the road trip. I like to have a combination of healthy and junk food. So I may buy some of like the small cucumbers and cut them up, or maybe some baby carrots or something to have as a snack on the drive. Or maybe if I've eaten all my fruit by the end of the week, buy like one apple to have it cut up so I can eat it while driving, things like that. If I do, there won't be a lot of expenses and I will mark them down. I will be taking all my budgeting stuff with me because I get paid on the Friday. Hopefully I will be able to do my budget that Friday evening and get everything edited and uploaded. But there will be there will be budgeting stuff happening while I'm on vacation. So I'm going to be taking my stuff just to stay on top of it. So yeah, that is where I'm at with the digital cash envelopes and a little bit of chatting because like I said, I never seem to be able to get through these videos without it. I am thinking of trying to squish everything though. So I like the size of my columns on here for writing because I tend to write a kind of big, but I'm thinking if I do the date on this little sliver of leftover space to the side and just sort of write it out more as like a, I don't know, like a April 28th, so a 4/28, you know, like in like the little sliver of space over there, then I can fit all of my columns onto one page and I can make better use because I did have more columns. If you're new, I used to have more columns, so I used more of this second page, but then I got rid of them. They may come back later, but for now I don't have them. And I kind of hate this wasted space of the second page because I've got that there as well. And I don't, yeah, see, like, I don't like it. I'm trying to go back. So I used to go farther into the pages, like these ones. So I kind of prefer using more of the page than not. So I think I'm going to try for when I fill in the next pages to get them ready to go, squishing everything to one side. And then I would love feedback from you when I start filming those ones, if it's sort of legible and easy to look at on camera when it's all fitting onto one page, and if you don't mind the dates being much smaller on the side. Just as a little heads up about what's coming up with a little bit of a change. Thank you so very much for following along with me with my budgeting journey. I hope that if you are on a budgeting journey of any type, it is going very well for you and you are slowly getting towards your goals. If you do cash budgeting, whether it's real, actual physical cash, or in a digital format the way that I do, I hope it's really going well for you and that it's all balancing out. Even though I have 2 columns in zero and I'm going into an upcoming week and I'm probably going to be seeing a friend before I go away, I'm feeling fairly okay with these because the friend that I'm seeing, I'm going to try to convince to go for a walk, so that's like zero money being spent, and everything else I think will kind of hold steady until payday on Friday. I think it will all be okay. I just need to be careful. But I can do that. I can have a quiet week. It's possible. I have to get ready to go away anyways, so I need a bit more time at home to get all that sorted. So again, sorry I rambled. Thank you very much for following along and for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I hope that you are all having a really great day. Please stay safe out there, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.